us to start from the outset by saying that we are making this statement against the backdrop of very unfortunate occurrence. It's for the first time in the history of this country we are being made to understand that Statehouse has sanctioned the enlisting of militia against the people. Because that's exactly what happened in Statehouse on Saturday morning, and it's exactly what was followed by a statement which was issued by Kenya Kwanza. So we are standing here before you very concerned that the country or the leadership which is currently in place can take such a direction. But let me say this, first and foremost, that we are here to confirm that the peaceful protests are planned for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday this week are on, as earlier declared by our leaders. These protests will go on in line with Article 37 of our Constitution, which, as you all know, provide for freedom of peaceful assembly and picketing. And no person, no authority has got the power to suspend the operation of Article 37 of our Constitution. No person, no authority, no agency, not William Ruto, not Kithure Kindiki, not Ndiritu Gachagua. Gachagua who? Yes. No person and anybody purporting to stop demonstrations is deluding themselves, because they have got no that power or authority. Now we can also confirm that the signature collection is also going on and will proceed side by side with the protests. This exercise is also protected under Article 1 of our Constitution. The people have decided to act directly. And who are we to go against the wishes of the people?
Thank you very much. Just two things to add on to that statement. That we have received intelligence that in fact senior police officers in the Kenyan Police Command have chosen to ignore the illegal directive that was given by CS Kindiki for police officers to shoot protesters. And that is the reason why the president convened a PG, because he knows the police will not do his dirty work. He has now told his own members of parliament to mobilize people in their constituencies to come and harm protesters. We want to say here to those of you who might be mobilized to come and fight your fellow Kenyans, we are not the enemy. We are not the ones who have added taxation on fuel. All these members of parliament here voted against that bill. You cannot come and fight your fellow hustlers in the streets. You cannot come from Madare and think that you are better than the person who comes from Kasarani. If Kenyans are sleeping hungry because of the price of food, the hustlers are sleeping hungry, and members of Azimio are also sleeping hungry. For a president to convene a meeting where he sets his own people against each other, I think we have never come to such a law in this country. And we must condemn it in the strongest words possible. I want the people of Azimio to know we have won the argument. By the time you hear a professor of law like Kindiki saying he no longer wants to hear English or Swahili or constitutional concepts, it means we have won the argument. They have no answer to the questions that Kenyans are asking them. That is why a professor, somebody who should be encouraging discourse, constitutional discourse, and encouraging the development of law, would get to a point and he says, sasa hii kizungu imekuwa mingi, wajuaji Nairobi wamekuwa wengi, sasa tupige hao risasi. It means we have won the argument and they have no answers. Finally, we will not fight our fellow countrymen. I want to make it very clear. In Nairobi, we live as a community. Kikuyu, Luya, Jaluo, kila mtu hapa. Saile Jaluo analala njaa, Muluya analala njaa, Mkikuyu analala njaa. We will not fight our fellow countrymen. In fact, some of these members of parliament who talk, you know, we are with them in the Senate. Mtu kama Cherargei. Yeye anaweza piga nani hapa mbele vile mnaona hapa. Who can Cherargei fight here? Eh? He talks like that because he knows he's going to hide behind the instruments of violence of the state. Senator Cherargei, instead of organizing your boys to come and fight peaceful demonstrators, just come and fight Sifuna. Hey, akuje tu tukutane watu wawili. Lastly, they are crying and saying, oh, this signature thing is going nowhere. But they are actively sabotaging the collection of signatures. We have had over 1,000 attacks on our website that is being used for collection of signatures. They have even cloned the website to try and, confuse our supporters. But we are saying Kenyans want to eat, and they want to eat today. It doesn't matter how long you cover your ears. Tutapiga hiyo masikio kofi mpaka ifunguke. Usikie kilio ya Wakenya. Asante sana.
Honorable Enoch Wamboa. Alafu Honorable Kenchonga. And then Honorable Senator.
Thank you very much. I'll also be very brief. I will say three things. One, we must structure this conversation properly. The conflict that we are experiencing today and that we will experience on Wednesday and Thursday and Friday is not a conflict between Kenya Kwanza and Azimio. That conflict happened on the 9th of August, yes, and we won it. Yes. The conflict that we are going to experience on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday is a conflict between one William Samoei Ruto and the people of Kenya. That's what's happening. I was really surprised to see Honorable Ruto calling honorable members and telling them to go and mobilize their people, their constituents, to fight us. Actually, I would say I am ashamed on his behalf. Because the people from those constituencies, some of them are suffering even more than people in constituencies represented by Azimio. And let me tell you what will happen on Wednesday. And I'm not a prophet, but I can foresee this. Any member of parliament, any leader from Kenya Kwanza, who dares to stop their people from saying they are starving. That's what all people are saying. We want food. That's what they are saying. Any member that dares stop his people from saying that, then that member will be forced by his people to say other things. Yes. Lastly, we are at the lowest that any democracy can sink. At the lowest. And you know, myself and Senator Sifuna, we were in the bipartisan talks. And when we realized that we were being taken for a ride, we said, stop any conversation about anything else. Let us talk about food for our people. And that conversation will take place on Wednesday, on Thursday, and Friday. And if people are uncomfortable with that, I have a solution for them. Bring down the cost of living today. And you will not be on the streets on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I thank you.
Ken Chonga.
Wakenya wenzangu, ukweli wa mambo ni kwamba chenye Mheshimiwa Ruto hajaelewa ni kuwa msukumo huu, maandamano haya si vita baina ya Ruto na Raila. Maandamano haya, msukumo huu umeletwa kwa sababu hali ya maisha haiwezi ikakidhika tena. Mwenye alisimama na Ruto, mwenye alisimama na Raila, wote leo shida ni zile zile moja. Na Ruto, mimi nataka kumwambia kitu kimoja. Serikali ambayo haiwezi ikatetea wengi ambao ni wanyonge, haitaweza kutetea wachache walio watajiri. Wale ambao wanalia njaa leo, wawe ni Azimio, wawe ni Kenya Kwanza, ni wale wanyonge. Mtoto hawezi kulilia chakula ukampe mawe. Watu wanataka chakula, unawaletea vitisho ati tutakuua. Wale walio kuchagua wewe leo, kama kwako huwezi kuwaona maana, ni kitu gani kitakuwa na maana kwako tena? Wacha hii ieleweke. Wacha Ruto aelewe, asikie. Hakuna vitisho ambavyo kwamba atavitoa ili watu waweze kunyamaza na kuvumilia. Watu wanataka chakula leo. Watu wanataka chakula kesho. Ndio ili vizazi ambavyo vinakuja vijue kwamba vimezaliwa katika karne ambayo kwamba inajali maslahi ya wananchi ambao wapo. Na watu wakikosa chakula, Ruto ajitahadhari. Mbali na maandamano, mambo zaidi yako nyuma ya mfuata. Asante.
You are aware that the United Nations has pronounced itself on the situation in the country, especially on the issue of police brutality and the killings that went on during the demonstration. I want to state very clearly that the earlier petition by Azimio to ICC is very active. And we want to encourage the United Nations and ICC to note the events of this week. One, the President William Ruto chaired a meeting that planned anarchy on the people of Kenya at Statehouse. Number two, the suspension of the Constitution by those in KK Alliance, particularly Article 37 of the Constitution. Three, the killings that went on last week. And as Azimio, we have profiled all the people who died, and all of them died as a result of shootings by the police. Thirdly, the statements attributed to one Kindiki, who ironically was a lawyer at the ICC. Two, Gachagua. And three, Moses Kuria threats on Baba. We are asking ICC, please take note of what is happening in this country so that we have the commencement of our petition before the ICC.